Hello, you're watching Focus, and of course we thank you so very much for tuning in, and we are coming to you live this evening. I'm very excited about that. We're going to be here for about an hour, and we hope that you will give us a call, and they will post a number when we're able to start taking calls. First of all, I want to introduce to you my guest. This is going to be a phenomenal show because we're going to analyze handwriting. We're going to find out what that's all about. To my left is Pat Senich, who is a grapho analyst, and we're going to define that for you. It's a big word, but we're going to define that for you. To my right is my good friend David Dewitt, who has been on my show multiple times, and we always have a great time. And he also is a grapho analyst. And I want to thank you both for being a guest on our show.
It's always a pleasure.
This is going to be exciting. And as I said, folks, when we begin to ask for questions, we'll let you know. But in the meantime, could either of you explain exactly what is a grapho analyst? Pat, you want to go first, and then David can?
Certainly. A grapho analyst is any human being, actually, any individual who is interested in people, number one.
Okay.
Because we are interested in what makes them think, how they feel, and there are extensive ways of finding that out. The tools that we use are magnifying glass, counter, and we analyze a sample of handwriting.
Of handwriting, yeah.
And if we have their signature, it's great, because that tells us an awful lot more about them. In other words, they may have, their signature may be one way, but that's their public image. And then when you look at the body of writing, it's totally different. But we do analyze, we're supposed to analyze 100 upstrokes, if that's easy to follow.
Okay.
And there is a chart that David will show you that explains how we go about that.
Okay. David, you want to answer that, please?
Well, I just want to come up with the idea with you that graphology is a generic term.
Okay.
There's two schools of thought. There's the trait method, which is what we're doing right tonight, is grapho analysis. And the other one's the Gestalt method. You just look at the whole handwriting as a whole.
Okay.
So when we get up here and we start talking to you, we're going to show you how to apply all this handwriting analysis, and we're going to come up with the 3 basic personality traits and explain that also, and how we do the evaluation. That's basically what we're here tonight to do.
Okay. So would it be safe to say, for me to say, graphology is a method? And being a grapho analyst is someone who specializes in doing the method of graphology, which is analyzing one's handwriting.
That's a good way to describe it.
Is that
it's a study. The graph analysis aspect is more scientific. It studies individual strokes to determine what the person's physical, mental, emotional state is at the time of the writing.
Right.
And that's what we're going to get into from the samples you got.
You know, I just had blood work done. And now think about this. You can have your blood pressure done at the time you're at the doctor's office, and you know you're not going to be. You're going to be kind of nervous, right? And it could be up a little bit, and then when you get home, it's probably perfectly normal, like the way he wants it. But they know that already, so it's sort of like that. I mean, if the person is nervous or not nervous, you can sense a difference in
some cases.
In some cases,
not in all.
Well, people ask us, does your handwriting change? Well, actually, every day your handwriting changes. Your physical and mental, emotional state changes every day.
Okay.
The fixed traits are like your IQ, your identity, and your temperament.
But didn't either of you once told me that no matter how you try to disguise, you can't, can you? What is it in there that you folks, as professionals, can spot that is indicative of that human being?
Well, if you're lying to your subconscious, it'll show up in your handwriting. And we might be able to see some of this in the handwriting that we're going to analyze tonight.
Okay.
Like if you said you did not rob the bank, and you did, there might be a distance between your letters. And things like this will show up, so we know you're lying immediately.
Okay. I want you each to give me a little bit of story, but we'll start with David first, because I love this story. You got into this when you were in the service, and you were working at a post office, and what happened?
Okay, I was in the Army Intelligence Corps.
Yeah.
And what happened was we lost our mail clerk.
Okay.
And my company commander said, you know, since you have a few more months to go, would you like to be the mail clerk? I said, oh, fine. It sounds like a great idea, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, as I was looking at the mail and handing out the mail, I noticed this one serviceman, his girlfriend, every time she wrote, his name got smaller and smaller.
You got from this to this.
Yeah, it was getting very tiny.
Yeah.
Okay? So anyway, I had a book by Dell on handwriting analysis, and I wasn't a believer in this now,
Okay.
but I looked at the handwriting. I wanted to know why it was getting smaller. So it said if you really like somebody, you'll embellish their name. Yeah, you make it bigger. You know, you put maybe you have a boyfriend, you put some hearts in it or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway,
you saw something else.
but I saw something else. So I said to him, do you notice when you get your mail from your girlfriend, your name gets smaller? He says, what's that mean, Dave? I said, well, if you really like somebody, you embellish their name. I said, I hope you don't get a Dear John letter. 3 months went by, and he said, Dave, I got that Dear John. And then I became a believer in it.
And that's what did it for you.
That's what did it for me, and I was very interested in it. And I was analyzing everybody's handwriting at that point.
What about you, Pat? What brought you into this?
My first encounter was at my first alumni meeting in Boston, Massachusetts, and a woman got up on this subject, and she went to the board and she did a demonstration. And we were to look at our handwriting and see what she had talked about.
Yeah.
And I kept looking at it thinking, my goodness, my mother used to tell me things like that, but I wouldn't have believed her.
Maybe your mother
And
was
I knew what she said was absolutely true. So I went home and I signed up, and I thought, I've got to find out more about this because I want to know more about myself and also the people with whom I lived. And if I were at work, I could find out more about my boss, and I did. So that brought me into it, and I never stopped. I went in from, well, at that time I think I was at probably one of the offices, in many offices, program directors and such as that, and then president.
And you've gone to court to
I did.
testify on behalf of a defendant or whatever.
And that's where you were, you talked about before, and you had talked to me about it. I have gone into court many times. I don't anymore because it's a very technical part of the business.
Sure.
I use the 10x magnifying glass, and you have to find out what direction the eye dot is going in, what direction the handwriting is going, and if, like David said, there was something that you lied about, the trait of deception is right there.
Wow.
So they can tell you that they didn't, but they lied. You know.
So, may I ask, this may be kind of rude, but may I ask, how long have you been doing this?
50 years.
50 years.
Yeah.
Dave, how about you, if I may ask?
About the same.
About the same, I would say, 50 years or more.
50 years.
Yeah.
And you both love it, don't
I
you?
love it.
Oh, we enjoy it. It's like a passion.
It's very hard to get away from it. It is a passion. And then, you know, you're checking your own every day. I mean, you're looking like, wow, I just found that trait again, you know. But you can't get away from it. Right, David?
I write a journal every day, and I notice if I'm really up, my handwriting's nice, and if I'm something irritated or somebody set you off, which we're going to talk about tonight,
okay.
it'll show right up in your handwriting.
Oh, it does.
Okay.
And then
I'm looking forward to that. I just want to mention again, for those of you who have just tuned in, we're coming to you live on Channel 191, and we thank you so much for tuning in. We have two grapho analysts, and those are people that analyze people's handwriting, and a lot of who you are cognitively somewhat can be seen in the way that you write. So to my left is Pat Senich, who's been a guest on my show as well, and of course David Dewitt, who's been a guest a few times, and for a couple of other reasons. Fascinating guy. To be honest, we met at the Warner Theater, and we both volunteer there. So it's a great method of meeting people, and I'm glad you both are here. Shall we start with something very simple, or?
I'm going to start off like if I was actually talking to your audience and teaching them a little bit about handwriting analysis.
Okay, do your thing, David. Thank you so much. And if I could be of any help, just let me know.
All right.
You dropped your thing.
a pointer.
Okay. And watch your microphone wider, so there we go.